Do you know who was the first Asian to set foot in the Vatican 7 years before Marco Polo? Not an explorer, not a merchant, but a poor monk. Nearly 6,000 miles, 3 empires, through 7 language regions. One crazy dream: East-West unite, defeat the Mamluks, reclaim Jerusalem. But history buried his name. Only one ancient book remains, and one secret. In 1287, while Marco Polo was hesitating to return to Venice with strange tales of Kublai Khan's golden palaces, an elderly monk from Beijing, thousands of miles away, was trudging across deserts and seas to knock on the doors of European kings. He sought no gold or silver, no trade deals. He carried a dream, an alliance between East and West to defeat their common enemy and bring peace to the Holy Land of Jerusalem. That was Rabban Bar Sauma, the Uyghur Nestorian monk, scholar, and the first Asian diplomat to set foot in Rome and Paris. If Marco Polo was the bridge that brought East Asia to Europe with silk and spices, Bar Sauma was the wind blowing the other way, carrying Europe, with its granite cathedrals and chivalric spirit, back to the heart of the East. But his story is not just a geographical journey. It is a journey of a soul yearning to connect between civilizations, between religions, between war and peace. In the chaotic 13th century, when the Mongol Empire ruled from the Pacific to the Mediterranean, when the Crusades were fading, and when the Mamluk Muslims threatened to swallow the Holy Land, Bar Sauma dared to dream of a borderless world. He wrote in his diary, preserved in an ancient Syriac translation, "I have crossed deserts and oceans, met people praying in different languages, but all looking up to the same sky. Today in this video, we will follow him across more than 6,000 miles, 3 empires, 7 languages, and countless challenges. We will explore not only history, but also lessons in tolerance, in the power of one individual daring to go against the tide." Let's begin the journey. From the ancient city of Zhongdu, now the bustling Beijing, to the cobblestone streets of medieval Paris. Are you ready? Because Bar Sauma's story doesn't just belong to the past. It is a reminder for today's world, where borders still divide us. Around 1220, in Zhongdu, the capital of the Yuan dynasty under Kublai Khan, the forerunner of modern Beijing, a Uyghur boy was born into a wealthy family. The Uyghurs, descendants of Turkic nomadic tribes from Central Asia, had deeply integrated into Mongol society, becoming merchants, scholars, and advisors to the great Khans. Zhongdu at that time was a marvel, a vast city with walls 15 miles long, a population of over 1 million, where 3 cultures intersected: Chinese Confucianism, Indian Buddhism, and Persian Nestorian Christianity. Nestorianism, an ancient branch of Christianity that split from the Roman Church in the 5th century, had entered China in the 7th century via the Silk Road and flourished under the patronage of the Mongol Khans, who initially followed shamanism before approaching Islam and Christianity. The boy was named Bar Sauma, in Syriac, meaning son of fasting. That name was like a prophecy for a life rejecting material things, turning toward the soul. His family was rich from trading horses and silk, but the boy was not enamored with those treasures.
Pass it here, quick.
While other children played under the moonlight, Bar Sauma often climbed onto the roof, gazing at the sparkling stars. His father, a devout merchant, once asked, "What do you look at that keeps you awake every night?" The boy replied, according to his later diary, "I want to know what is on the other side of that light." That innocent question, a transcendent longing, planted the seed for a lifelong journey.
Make way, make way!
Zhongdu society was a vivid tapestry of cultural exchange. Persian merchants brought the Quran, Buddhist monks chanted beside statues of Guanyin, while Nestorian missionaries read the Bible in ancient Syriac. Kublai Khan, the wise great Khan, encouraged this diversity to strengthen his empire. He built temples for every religion, from Islam to Christianity, believing that faith is the foundation of loyalty. Bar Sauma grew up in that atmosphere, learning Confucian philosophy of benevolence, Buddhist compassion, and Nestorian teachings of Jesus as a savior for all peoples. A Nestorian teacher once told him, "Faith is not a wall, but a bridge connecting souls." From then on, the boy believed that religion was not for division, but for connection, a belief that would shape his entire life. As an adult, Bar Sauma renounced a comfortable life. At age 23, he shaved his head, donned monastic robes, and entered a cave near the city to practice asceticism. His family protested, "Son, Zhongdu is prospering under Kublai Khan. Why choose poverty?" But he only replied, "If wealth makes us forget how to see the light, I'd rather be poor to see it." It is said that during the famine of 1260, when drought dried up the Yellow River, pushing thousands into starvation, Bar Sauma opened his family's grain stores, distributing food to the poor. His father raged, "Everything I've gathered my whole life, why give it all away?" He answered, "What you store is grain for the body, but what I keep is food for the soul." That night he quietly left home, entering the Marmichael Monastery near Zhongdu. From then on, he never returned. For many decades, Bar Sauma lived within the cold stone walls of the monastery. He ate little, only vegetables and spring water, spoke little, but read and contemplated much. As a master preacher, he taught the young about simplicity and wisdom, emphasizing that wisdom lies not in books, but in a heart that knows how to listen. One outstanding student was Marcos, an orphan boy from the Kashgar region, taken as a disciple at age 17. When Marcos came to study, he asked his teacher, "Where is God?" Bar Sauma smiled, "He is where you dare to seek him." That answer etched itself into Marcos's heart, and later led both into a journey that changed history. Marcos quickly became his teacher's right hand, helping translate the Bible from Syriac to Uyghur, and discussing the blending of Nestorianism with Eastern philosophy. In the monastery, they often sat by the fireplace, debating prophecies in the Book of Revelation. Was the Holy Land of Jerusalem humanity's ultimate destination? The Pax Mongolica, the relative peace under the Mongol Empire, had made the Silk Road safer than ever, from China to Persia. Caravans carried not only goods but ideas. Buddhism spread to Persia, Islam seeped into Central Asia. Bar Sauma and Marcos dreamed of pilgrimaging to Jerusalem, not just to pray, but to witness where the Lord had walked, and perhaps bring back holy relics to ignite faith in the East. In 1275, when Bar Sauma was over 50, they decided to set out. They sold their remaining possessions, a few horses and books, to buy provisions and join a merchant caravan. Not to escape, but to pursue their aspiration. The journey began from Zhongdu, through the arid lands of Western Xia, now Inner Mongolia and Ningxia, where sandstorms buried all traces. There they met Buddhist monks repairing statues swallowed by the desert. An old monk said, "Buddha is not in the statue, but in the hands that repair it." Bar Sauma was silent for a long time, then wrote in his notebook,
"Pilgrimage is not just going, but learning to see the sacred in the ordinary."
Continuing through Kashgar, the bustling crossroads of the Silk Road, where Persian silk tents crowded with Chinese camels, they met Muslim merchants. One asked,
"What did your faith say about money?" "It is a knife, used to cut bread or kill. depending on the hand that holds it.
The merchant laughed, inviting him to prayer in the mosque. Kneeling under the emerald dome, hearing the Quran echo, Bar Sauma realized,
God does not belong to one language, but to humanity's shared longing.
From Kashgar, they crossed Talas, the Sir Darya River Valley, where Arab armies defeated China in the 8th century. Then into Khorasan, now Afghanistan, and Iran, meeting the Persian cleric Denha. Denha, who later became the Nestorian patriarch, said,
You seek Jerusalem, but Jerusalem is actually seeking you.
Those words sounded strange, but turned out to be prophetic. War broke out in Syria. The Mamluk Egyptians, under Sultan Baybars, were tightening their grip on the Holy Land, defeating the Crusader remnants at Ain Jalut in 1260. The road to Jerusalem was blocked. The two had to stop in Persia, then Baghdad, the capital of the Ilkhanate, the Mongol kingdom under Kublai Khan. There they reunited with Denha, now patriarch. Denha ordained Marcos as Bishop of East Asia, then died soon after. The church needed a successor, and all eyes turned to Marcos. In 1281, he became Yabalaha III, patriarch of the entire Church of the East. Bar Sauma, the loyal teacher, became his advisor. From a solitary monk, Bar Sauma was now the soul of a religious empire, with thousands of followers from China to Persia. But Bar Sauma's true mission was just beginning. In 1287, Ilkhan Argan, son of Abaka Khan, a king who followed Nestorianism and dreamed of an alliance against the Mamluks, was seeking to defeat their common enemy, the Mamluk Egyptian Empire, dominating Syria and threatening the Holy Land. The Ilkhanate, founded in 1256 by Hulagu, had conquered Baghdad in 1258, destroying the Islamic Caliphate, but failed at Ain Jalut. The Ilkhans, initially shamanist and Buddhist, gradually leaned toward Christianity to befriend Europe. Hoping for a Franco-Mongol alliance from the 7th Crusade era, 1248 to 1254. He asked Yabalaha III, who can go to the far west, speak with the Pope and the kings? The answer, an elderly monk from China who had crossed deserts to reach here. The patriarch took his teacher's hand. When you arrive, they will ask who you are. Say, I come from where the sun rises to tell of the light. At age 67, Bar Sauma began his final journey, across 6,000 miles, through 3 empires, Ilkhanate, Byzantine, and the Holy Roman Empire. The envoy party had 30 horses, carrying Mongol letters, Persian pearl gifts, and the Great Khan's seal. He spoke no Latin or French, but carried humility and sincerity, things that transcend all barriers. They departed from Baghdad, through Armenia, the ancient Christian land, where Mount Ararat stood tall like a witness to Noah. In Ani, the Armenian capital, people welcomed them with bread and wine, seeing him as a messenger from heaven. Then to Constantinople, the glittering Byzantine capital, with Hagia Sophia shining under the sun. Emperor Andronicus II Palaiologos hosted them grandly, a 3-day feast with venison and Greek wine. Stepping into Hagia Sophia, Bar Sauma stood silent for hours, gazing at the massive dome, the ceiling like a starry sky, the columns like trees in the Garden of Eden. I understand that devotion can turn stone into soul. He gifted Andronicus a jade cross, receiving a letter promising military aid. From then, he believed, architecture too is prayer, linking East and West. From Constantinople, they crossed the Black Sea by Genoese ship, seasoned Italian sailors familiar with Mongol trade. In the Mediterranean, they witnessed Mount Etna erupting, a pillar of red fire tearing the sky, ash covering the sun. The sailors panicked, but Bar Sauma sat praying, that fire is not God's anger, but a reminder that humans should fear their own greed more than natural disasters. In Naples, he saw naval battles between Italian lords, two European armies slaughtering each other for power. He recorded, "People die in the name of God, but forget that God never told anyone to kill to find him." Those sights etched into him. Europe was no paradise, but a place where humans wrestled with themselves. Arriving in Rome, he learned Pope Honorius IV had died.
Holiness, Pope Honorius.
The cardinals received him, questioning Nestorian doctrine, which they saw as heresy from the 5th century. Bar Sauma patiently explained, "We worship the same God, only in different expressions." They allowed him to visit St. Peter's tomb, where he knelt praying in Syriac. The Romans, sun-tanned Italians, watched him, an East Asian monk in brown robes, and fell silent. In that moment, he felt, everyone speaks to the same God, just in different sounds. Leaving Rome, the party went to Genoa, Europe's financial center, where Italian banks lent even to Mongol Khans. From there, they crossed the snow-covered Alps to Paris. King Philip IV the Fair, the French monarch building massive Gothic cathedrals, received them grandly at the Louvre Palace. He asked, "Where do you come from?" Bar Sauma replied, "From where dawn is born." Then he presented the mission, calling for an alliance against the Mamluks, not just with swords, but with peace. You can share lands, so why not share peace? The court fell silent. Philip gave a golden cross, saying, "You come from farther than the sun, but your heart is with God as mine is." He also met King Edward I of England in Bordeaux, then English Gascony, who promised to send knights if the Ilkhan attacked Egypt. On the return, Bar Sauma met the new Pope Nicholas IV. On Palm Sunday, 1288, Nicholas allowed him to receive the Eucharist, the first time an Eastern monk was permitted to celebrate Mass in the Vatican. Tens of thousands of believers shouted, "Amen," the ground shaking. Nicholas gifted a golden tiara for Yabalaha III and entrusted, "Visit the Eastern Christians, bring back blessings." Bar Sauma replied, "I see God not on a throne, but where two hands meet." The military alliance failed. Europe was busy with internal wars. Ilkhan Arghun died in 1291. But the trip opened something greater: civilizational connection. Italian missionaries like Giovanni da Montecorvino arrived in China in 1294, bringing Christianity. Trade doubled along the Silk Road. Bar Sauma brought no gold, but knowledge and respect. Returning to Baghdad in 1288, Bar Sauma was frail. He no longer preached, but wrote The History of the Life and Journey of Rabban Sauma in Persian, later translated to Syriac. He described European rituals. They kneel in stone churches, singing hymns echoing like desert winds. About Philip IV's hospitality, the arrogance of Italian lords, the loneliness of wealthy empires. Not judging, but understanding. Difference is a bridge, not a wall. The book, republished in English in 1928 by E.A. Wallis Budge, is Marco Polo in Reverse. Polo described the strange East for the West. Bar Sauma described the West, with its Gothic monasteries and knights, for the East. Both sought no gold, but truth. But Bar Sauma taught, seek truth to connect, not to conquer. In 1294, he died in Baghdad, his grave now lost. That day it rained for 3 days. The elderly whispered, the sky cries for the one who connected the world's two ends. He built no empire, left no descendants, but left a gaze beyond borders, religions, languages. Today, when the world is still divided by war and prejudice, Rabban Bar Sauma reminds us, one person daring to go against the wind can change history. He teaches that difference is not a wall, but a bridge. And only when we dare to cross it do we see ourselves on the other side. When we speak of Marco Polo, we remember trade. Of Bar Sauma, we remember spirit. One went for profit, one for reason. Both opened the world, but only one carried light in his heart. Rabban Bar Sauma, the monk from the East, who went against the wind to bring peace across the borders of faith. Thank you for watching. If this video sparks a thirst to explore history, please like, subscribe, and comment. Do you think an East-West alliance back then could have succeeded? Don't forget the bell for new videos about forgotten heroes. See you next time.